Commander Mayatore stood at attention aboard the UES Diplomat, Earth's most advanced starship, as it approached the massive space station that served as the Galactic Confederation's headquarters. After decades of observation, the Confederation had finally invited humanity to join their interstellar community. As Earth's military attaché to the diplomatic mission, Torres couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between their vessel and the sleek alien ships surrounding them. "Quite the welcome party," muttered Lieutenant James O'Connor from his tactical station, eyes scanning the sensor readings. "I count at least 20 warships." "Standard procedure, Lieutenant," Torres replied, though something about the deployment pattern nagged at her tactical instincts. "The Confederation protects its headquarters vigilantly." Ambassador Richard Cole's voice came through the bridge speakers. "Commander, our hosts are ready to receive us. Please join me in the diplomatic shuttle." As Torres made her way to the shuttle bay, she reviewed the mission briefing one last time. Earth had impressed the Confederation observers with their rapid technological advancement, moving from early spaceflight to FTL travel in just under a century. However, the Confederation considered human military technology primitive, particularly their continued use of kinetic weapons alongside energy-based systems. The diplomatic shuttle launched smoothly from the Diplomat, escorted by 2 Confederation vessels. Torres watched through the viewport as they approached the station's massive docking ring. That's when her combat instincts screamed a warning. "Ambassador, the escort ships are moving out of standard formation," she announced, reaching for the shuttle's tactical console. "Their weapon systems are powering up." Before Cole could respond, the escort ships opened fire. Energy beams sliced through space, but instead of targeting their shuttle, they struck the UES Diplomat. The ship's shields flared brilliant blue, holding against the assault. "This is Ambassador Cole to Confederation Control. We are under attack. Request immediate assistance." Only static answered his call. Torres was already moving, taking control of the shuttle systems. "The Diplomat's shields are holding, sir. Lieutenant O'Connor knows the contingency protocols." As if in response to her words, the Diplomat's response was devastating. Railgun batteries that the Confederation had dismissed as primitive roared to life, launching hypervelocity projectiles that somehow bypassed the attacking ship's energy shields. The escort's hulls ruptured, their crews having never expected kinetic weapons to penetrate their advanced defenses. "How?" Ambassador Cole watched in shock as the human vessel held its own against supposedly superior technology. "Confederation shields are optimized against energy weapons, sir," Torres explained, executing evasive maneuvers as more hostile ships moved to engage. "They never bothered adapting them against kinetic impacts. They thought we were too primitive to be a threat." The space around the station erupted into chaos. More Confederation ships joined the attack, but the Diplomat's hybrid defense system proved remarkably effective. Energy shields deflected their beam weapons while point defense railguns shredded incoming missiles. Return fire from the Earth ship's main guns demonstrated why humanity had never fully abandoned physical projectiles. They were simply too effective to ignore. "Commander, the Diplomat is signaling. They've detected multiple ships powering up throughout the sector. This wasn't a random attack, it's an ambush." Torres relayed the information while piloting their shuttle toward what appeared to be a friendly vessel approaching from the station's far side. The ship's markings identified it as belonging to the Arcturus Coalition, one of the Confederation's more progressive member species. Its captain's voice crackled through their comm system. "Earth vessel, this is Captain Zena of the Arcturus ship Dawn Seeker. We had no knowledge of this treachery. Several Confederation factions oppose Earth's admission, but we never expected them to resort to violence. Allow us to offer sanctuary." Before Torres could respond, a massive explosion lit up space behind them. The Diplomat had detonated its emergency antimatter reserves rather than be captured, taking 3 enemy capital ships with it. The sacrifice bought precious time for its escape pods to launch, carrying most of the crew to safety. "Sanctuary accepted, Captain Zena," Ambassador Cole replied. his voice heavy with the weight of history unfolding. But humanity will not forget this betrayal. As their shuttle docked with the Dawn Seeker, Torres began composing her report for Earth Command. The Confederation's treacherous elements had made a critical mistake. They had revealed their hostile intentions while simultaneously demonstrating that their technological superiority wasn't as complete as they'd believed. Humanity had proved its worth in fire and steel, and the galaxy would soon learn that underestimating Earth was a costly mistake. The dawn of human interstellar warfare had begun, and the Confederation would learn that their dismissal of primitive human weapons had been their first and perhaps final error. As Torres watched the last of the diplomats' escape pods being recovered by their Arcturus allies, she knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity would respond, and the response would reshape the galaxy. 3 weeks after the Confederation's betrayal, the war room deep within Luna Base hummed with activity. Holographic displays showed fleet movements across known space, while intelligence reports scrolled across multiple screens. Commander Maya Torres stood before Earth's Combined Defense Council, delivering her first-hand account of the ambush for the dozenth time. The Arcturus Coalition has provided crucial intelligence, Torres explained, manipulating the holographic display to show enemy fleet positions. The attack was orchestrated by the Hegemony Hardliners, a faction that believes younger species should be contained, not welcomed. They control roughly 30% of Confederation forces, but their influence runs deeper. Admiral Viktor Petrov, the grizzled veteran who commanded Earth's defense fleet, leaned forward. "And you're certain about these shield vulnerabilities?" "Absolutely, sir. Their energy shielding technology is generations ahead of ours, but they never considered kinetic weapons a serious threat. Most Confederation ships have minimal armor because their shields were considered impenetrable. A weakness we're going to exploit," came a new voice. Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading weapons developer, stepped into the light of the holographic display. "We've been analyzing the combat data from the diplomat. Commander Torres's tactical recordings are particularly enlightening." Wong gestured, and the display shifted to show technical schematics. "We've developed what we're calling the Mjolnir system. It combines our latest railgun technology with targeting data from our energy weapon sensors. The Confederation's shields create distinct electromagnetic patterns when they deflect energy attacks. We can use these patterns to calculate weak points and target them with kinetic strikes." Torres studied the designs with growing appreciation. The human capacity for turning an enemy's strength into a weakness never ceased to amaze her. "How soon can we deploy this?" "The first modified ships are ready now," Admiral Petrov answered. "We've been preparing our response since the moment the diplomat's distress signal reached Earth. The Hegemony Hardliners believe they caught us off guard. They're wrong." The Admiral activated a secure channel, and a new face appeared in the holographic display. The angular, crystalline features of Captain Zena of the Dawn Seeker. "Our Arcturus allies have confirmed the location of the Hegemony's primary shipyard in the Denebola sector. They believe it's poorly defended because the Hardliners are concentrating their forces near Earth-controlled space, preparing for what they assume will be a desperate human counterattack. They're expecting us to be predictable," Torres realized, "to either huddle defensively around Earth or launch a direct assault on their frontline forces." "Precisely." Admiral Petrov's smile was wolf-like. "Instead, we're going to show them just how unpredictable humans can be. Commander Torres, given your experience with both our tactics and their technology, I'm giving you command of the strike force." The next 48 hours were a blur of preparation. Torres found herself aboard the UES Nemesis, Earth's newest warship, and the first to be fully equipped with the Mjolnir system. Her strike force consisted of 5 other modified vessels, each crewed by a combination of human officers and Arcturus technical advisors. As they prepared to jump to FTL, Torres addressed her crew. "The Hegemony Hardliners think they know what humanity is capable of. They've analyzed our technology, studied our tactics, and decided we're primitive and predictable. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, We show them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our shields. It's our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to surprise. The strike force dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Dinabola sector, their modified engines running in stealth mode, another innovation born from collaboration with their Arcturus allies. Long-range sensors confirmed their intelligence was correct. The massive shipyard complex was defended by only a token force. Multiple capital ships under construction, reported Lieutenant Maria Rice from Tactical. Their shields are powered down for maintenance. They never expected an attack this deep in their territory. Torres keyed her command channel. All ships, execute attack pattern Sierra 9. Remember your training. Their shields may be superior, but they've never faced weapons specifically designed to defeat them. Let's show the hegemony what humanity's primitive technology can really do. The strike force accelerated toward their target, still undetected. When they finally announced their presence, it was with a synchronized barrage that demonstrated the full power of the Mjolnir system. Railgun projectiles, their paths calculated with precision using energy weapon sensor data, struck exactly where the hegemony shift shields were weakest. The result was devastating. Defense ships fell before they could raise their shields. Construction bays crumbled, taking partially completed warships with them. The hegemony's response was chaos, their commanders unable to believe that human vessels had not only penetrated this far into their territory, but were cutting through their defenses like paper. "Ma'am," Reyes called out, "I'm detecting multiple ships attempting to power up. They're trying to raise their shields." "Too late," Torres replied, watching as another precisely targeted barrage reduced a hegemony dreadnought to scrap. "Launch the quantum buoys. Let's make sure everyone sees what happened here." Small devices shot out from the Earth vessels, positioning themselves around the battlefield. These were perhaps humanity's most crucial weapon in this fight, quantum entanglement communicators that would broadcast the battle footage across Confederation space, showing every species how the mighty hegemony hardliners had been humbled by the very primitives they had dismissed. As the last hegemony vessel fell silent, Torres opened a channel to her strike force. "Well done, everyone." The hardliners thought they could ambush one Earth ship and intimidate humanity into submission. Instead, they've learned that humans don't just fight back. We revolutionize warfare in the process. Set course for the rally point. Our next target awaits. The strike force vanished into FTL, leaving behind a graveyard of broken ships and shattered hegemony pride. Across Confederation space, the quantum buoys began transmitting their message. Humanity was not to be underestimated, and those who had betrayed them would soon learn the cost of their mistake. The Grand Chamber of the Arcturus High Council bore little resemblance to its Confederation counterpart. Where the Confederation favored sterile perfection, the Arcturans embraced organic architecture that seemed to pulse with life. Commander Maya Torres stood before the assembled council members, their crystalline forms refracting light in patterns that conveyed their emotions. The destruction of the Dinabola shipyards was more than a military victory, Torres explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the battle's aftermath. It was a message to every species that humanity won't be easily dismissed. First Speaker Lyra, her crystalline form glowing with approval, addressed the chamber. "Commander Torres speaks truth. The hegemony hardliners' response to this defeat proves their true nature. They've begun purges within their own ranks, claiming primitive species sympathizers have infiltrated their leadership." Admiral Petrov, attending via quantum link from Earth, joined the discussion. "Our intelligence suggests they're desperate. The hardliners expected a quick victory over Earth, using our defeat to justify their isolationist policies. Instead, they've exposed their own vulnerabilities and created an opportunity," added Captain Zena, who had become humanity's strongest advocate among the Arcturans. "Multiple species within the Confederation have approached us secretly, expressing support for Earth and opposition to the hardliners." Torres activated a new holographic display, showing fleet movements across known space. The hegemony is consolidating their forces, abandoning outlying systems to reinforce their core worlds. They're preparing for a major offensive. "Let them come," rumbled Council Member Vex, his crystalline form darkening with determination. "The Arcturus Coalition will stand with Earth. Our shipwrights are already implementing your Mjolnir system designs, and our scientists have proposals for combining our technologies in ways the hegemony never imagined." The meeting continued for hours, laying the groundwork for what would become known as the Liberty Alliance. Species that had long chafed under hegemony influence saw an opportunity in Earth's resistance. Human adaptability and innovation, combined with advanced alien technology, was proving to be a formidable combination. Aboard the UES Nemesis, now docked with a massive Arcturus engineering station designated Forge 1, Torres watched teams of human and alien engineers working seamlessly together. The ship was undergoing extensive modifications, incorporating Arcturus crystal matrix computing systems with upgraded human weapons. "The integration is proceeding faster than expected," reported Lieutenant Reyes, reviewing diagnostic data. "The crystal matrices are enhancing our targeting capabilities beyond our initial projections. The Mjolnir system's accuracy has improved by 300%. The Arcturans understand crystal technology in ways we never could," added Chief Engineer Jackson, his hands covered in the bioluminescent fluid used in Arcturus systems. "And they're fascinated by our approach to weapons design. We're teaching each other, creating something entirely new." Torres was about to respond when alarms blared throughout the station. Captain Zena's voice came through the command channel. "Multiple hostile signatures detected. Hegemony strike force approaching through subspace. They're targeting our alliance at its heart," Torres realized, rushing to the bridge. "All hands, battle stations. Engineering, what's our status?" "Systems are at 60% integration," Jackson reported. "We can fight, but we haven't tested the new configurations." "No better time than now," Torres replied, settling into her command chair as the Nemesis disengaged from the engineering dock. "Tactical status of station defenses. Forge 1 shields are at full power," Rise answered. "Arcturus defense fleet is moving to intercept, but the hegemony force outnumbers them 3-1. The space around Forge 1 erupted into chaos as the hegemony fleet emerged from subspace. Their formation was perfect, their tactics textbook, and that was their weakness. They were fighting the way they had always fought, expecting their superior numbers to overwhelm any defense. All ships, this is Commander Torres. The enemy expects us to respond conventionally. Let's disappoint them. Execute Protocol Chimera." The Liberty Alliance fleet split into smaller groups, each combining human and Arcturus vessels in ways that maximize their complementary strengths. Arcturus ships, their crystal-enhanced shields nearly impenetrable, drew enemy fire while human vessels maneuvered into position for killing shots with their modified weapons. "Ma'am, detecting energy buildup in the enemy flagship," Rise reported. "They're charging something massive." As expected, Torres smiled grimly. "Transmit pattern echo to all ships. Let's show them our latest innovation." The hegemony flagship unleashed a devastating energy beam, powerful enough to slice through conventional defenses. But as the beam approached the Alliance fleet, something unprecedented happened. Arcturus crystal arrays, synchronized with human deflector technology, didn't just block the attack. They caught it, channeled it, and reflected it back at the enemy fleet. "Direct hit," Rise announced as the hegemony flagship's own weapon turned against it. "Their entire command and control network is destabilizing." The battle turned decisively as the Alliance fleet pressed their advantage. Human weapons, guided by Arcturus sensors, struck with surgical precision, while Arcturus shields, reinforced by human redundancy systems, proved impenetrable. In the aftermath, as rescue operations began and damage reports came in, Torres received a priority transmission from Earth. Admiral Petrov's expression was grave. "Commander, Our Quantum Intelligence Division has decoded some of the hegemony battle communications. This attack wasn't just about destroying our alliance. They were trying to prevent us from discovering something they've hidden in the Arcturus archives. What did we find, sir? Evidence that the hegemony has been manipulating species development for centuries, deliberately suppressing technologies that could threaten their dominance. And there's more. References to something called Project Ascension. Whatever it is, the hardliners are terrified that our alliance might uncover it. Torres shared a look with Captain Zena, who had joined her on the bridge. The Arcturan's crystalline form pulsed with determination. "Then that's exactly what we need to do," Torres declared. "The hegemony started this war believing they could easily defeat us. Instead, they've united us against them. Now it's time to discover what they're so desperate to hide." The ancient data core pulsed with an eerie blue light as Commander Torres and Captain Zena descended into the deepest levels of the Arcturus archives. They had traced the references to Project Ascension here, to records that predated the Confederation itself. These archives were sealed 10,000 years ago, Zena explained, her crystalline form dimming to match the low light. Even our highest council members lost access after the hegemony reorganized the Confederation's governance structure. Torres ran her hand scanner over the data core's surface. The encryption is unlike anything we've seen. It's going to take both our technologies to crack this. "Then it's fortunate you have help," came a new voice. Admiral Petrov emerged from the shadows, accompanied by Dr. Wong and a tall, ethereal being Torres recognized as Verix, the quantum archive master of the Arcturus Coalition. "Admiral, I didn't expect you to leave Earth during this crisis. What we found in the decoded hegemony transmissions made this priority one," Petrov replied grimly. "Dr. Wong, show them." The scientist activated a holographic display, revealing complex mathematical patterns. "We've been analyzing the hegemony subspace communications. There's something hidden in their transmission frequencies, a signal that doesn't match any known protocol." Verix moved forward, their translucent form rippling with concern. "Those patterns, they match ancient warnings in our deepest archives. Warnings about the Great Silence that preceded the formation of the Confederation." Working together, the team connected their various technologies to the ancient data core. Human quantum computers interfaced with Arcturus crystal matrices, while Verix channeled their species' innate ability to manipulate data streams. Slowly, the core's secrets began to emerge. "By all the stars," Zena whispered as the first translations appeared. "The hegemony. They're not what we thought. They're not even who we thought." The records told a chilling story. The original Confederation had been formed not to unite species, but to defend against something far worse. Entities that existed in subspace, feeding on the energy of civilizations. The hegemony hadn't created the Confederation. They had infiltrated it, replacing the original governing council over centuries. These entities, Dr. Wong noted, studying the data, they can't maintain physical form in normal space for long. They need host bodies, preferably from technologically advanced species. That's why they've been suppressing development. They're farming us, keeping species at specific technological levels until they're needed as hosts. Torres felt a chill as the implications became clear. Project Ascension isn't just about controlling species development. It's about preparing host bodies for a full-scale invasion from subspace. "The attack on Earth makes more sense now," Petrov added. "Humanity's rapid development threatened their plans. We were advancing too quickly, in ways they couldn't predict or control. And our technology. Our technology does something they fear," Torres realized. "The Mjolnir system doesn't just penetrate their shields, it disrupts their connection to their host bodies. That's why our kinetic weapons are so effective against them." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the archive complex. Lieutenant Rice's voice came through Torres's comm. "Commander, multiple hegemony fleets just dropped out of subspace. They're everywhere. Earth, Arcturus Prime, all major alliance worlds." "This is too coordinated to be a coincidence," Petrov growled. They know we've discovered their secret. They're launching their invasion now, ready or not. Torres rushed to a command terminal, accessing tactical displays. The situation was dire. Hegemony ships were positioning themselves in complex geometric patterns around populated worlds, their energy signatures matching the subspace frequencies they'd discovered in the ancient data. They're creating gateway points, Dr. Wong announced, analyzing the patterns. These formations will allow the rest of their kind to cross over from subspace en masse. Can we stop them? Zena asked, her crystalline form pulsing with urgency. Torres studied the tactical data, her mind racing. Maybe. Their gateway formations require precise positioning and specific energy frequencies. If we could disrupt those frequencies. The Mjolnir system, Dr. Wong interjected. If we modify it to target these specific subspace frequencies instead of shield weaknesses, we'd need to hit every gateway point simultaneously, Petrov noted. One disruption wouldn't be enough. Then we'll hit them all, Torres declared. We've got ships positioned throughout Alliance space. If we can transmit the modified Mjolnir specs to every vessel. Varric stepped forward, their form glowing brightly. The Quantum Archive Network. We can use it to update every Alliance ship's targeting systems instantly. But we'll need to access the primary transmission hub in orbit, which is currently surrounded by hegemony ships, Zena added. Torres shared a determined look with Admiral Petrov. Then we fight our way through. We've got one chance to stop this invasion before it starts. Every Alliance world needs to know what they're really fighting, not just ships and soldiers, but entities that would enslave our entire galaxy. As they rushed to their ships, Torres couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The hegemony had dismissed humanity as primitive, yet human primitive technology might be the key to saving the galaxy. But first, they had to reach that transmission hub, and the largest hegemony fleet they'd ever encountered stood in their way. The final battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and this time, the enemy's true face would be revealed to all. Space around the Arcturus Quantum Transmission Hub blazed with weapons fire as the combined Liberty Alliance fleet engaged the hegemony forces. The UES Nemesis led the charge, its modified systems incorporating everything they'd learned about their true enemy. Multiple subspace ruptures detected. Lieutenant Reyes called out from tactical. They're trying to bring reinforcements directly from their dimension. Commander Torres watched as reality itself seemed to tear open, revealing glimpses of something that defied description. The hegemony ship's crews were changing, their bodies distorting as their true forms began breaking through. All ships, maintain formation, Torres commanded. We only need to hold them off long enough to reach the hub. Dr. Wong, status of the modified Mjolnir system. The scientist's voice came through clear despite the chaos. Modifications complete. The system is now calibrated to disrupt their dimensional frequency. But Commander, we'll only get one shot at this. The power requirements will burn out most of our weapon systems. One shot is all we need, Torres replied. Admiral Petrov, are Earth forces in position? Affirmative, came the Admiral's response. All Alliance worlds report ready. The moment you transmit the modified specs, every ship in the Alliance will fire simultaneously. The Nemesis shuddered as enemy fire impacted its shields. Through the view screen, Torres watched in horror as some of the hegemony ships began to transform, their hulls warping into organic configurations that seemed to drink in light itself. Their true forms, Captain Zena observed, her crystalline structure flickering with revulsion. They can no longer maintain the pretense. A massive energy beam lanced out from one of the transformed ships, cutting a nearby Alliance vessel in half. The beam seemed to consume not just matter but space itself, leaving behind a void that hurt to look at. Evasive pattern Delta, Torres ordered. All ships, concentrate fire on their lead vessel. We need to punch through to that hub. The Alliance fleet moved as one, their combined weapons fire focusing on a single point. Human kinetic weapons worked in concert with Arcturus energy beams, creating a devastating combination that even the transformed hegemony ships couldn't fully withstand. Breach in their line. Rise announced. We have a clear path to the hub. All ships, full power to engines. Torres commanded. This is our only chance. The Nemesis accelerated through the gap, taking heavy fire from all sides. Warning alerts blared as systems began to fail under the assault. Behind them, Alliance ships held the line, many sacrificing themselves to keep the path clear. Hub in range, Dr. Wong reported. Beginning transmission sequence. Commander, we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the enemy fleet. They know what we're trying to do. Torres watched as the transformed hegemony ships began arranging themselves in a complex pattern. Space itself seemed to bend around them as they prepared for what could only be a devastating final attack. They're trying to open a massive gateway, Xena warned. If they succeed, their entire civilization could pour through into our space. Not going to happen, Torres declared. Dr. Wong, initiate the transmission. All ships, prepare to fire on my mark. The quantum hub hummed to life, broadcasting the modified Mjolnir specifications to every Alliance vessel in known space. On tactical displays, Torres watched as thousands of ships acknowledged receipt of the data, their weapons adapting to the new parameters. The void between stars seemed to split open as the hegemony forces began their final push. Entities that had no right existing in normal space began to emerge, their very presence causing reality to buckle. All Alliance ships report ready. Rise announced. Torres took a deep breath. Everything hinged on this moment. All ships, fire. Across the galaxy, every Alliance vessel fired their modified weapons simultaneously. The effect was beyond anything they had predicted. The coordinated strike created a cascading reaction in subspace, the disruption spreading like ripples in a pond. The transformed hegemony ships began to distort, their true forms unable to maintain cohesion in normal space as their dimensional anchors were severed. The massive gateway they had been creating collapsed in on itself, taking many of the entities with it. It's working, Dr. Wong exclaimed. The dimensional frequency disruption is forcing them back into their own space. Torres watched in awe as the remaining hegemony forces were pulled back through rapidly closing rifts in spacetime. Their carefully constructed invasion, planned over millennia, was unraveling in minutes. All ships, maintain fire. Torres ordered. We need to ensure every rift is sealed. The battle raged for several more minutes, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Without their dimensional anchors, the entities couldn't maintain their presence in normal space. One by one, the transformed ships vanished, pulled back to their own dimension. As the last rift sealed itself, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. The remaining Alliance ships drifted among the debris of what had been the largest space battle in known history. All sectors reporting in. Rise announced, her voice tired but triumphant. The enemy has been repelled. No remaining subspace signatures detected. Admiral Petrov's hologram appeared on the bridge. Well done, Commander. Early reports indicate the attack was repelled at every location. The hegemony, or whatever they really were, have been driven back to their own dimension. Torres looked around at her crew, human and alien working together, their differences forgotten in the face of a common enemy. What about the dimensional rifts? Could they try this again? Dr. Wong spoke up. The coordinated Mjolnir strike didn't just repel them. It created a kind of dimensional barrier. They won't be able to establish stable gateways in our space for a very long time. Then it's over, Xena said, her crystalline form glowing with relief. Centuries of manipulation and control ended by the very primitive species they tried to suppress. Torres smiled. Not ended, transformed. The Confederation will need to be rebuilt, this time as a true partnership of equals. We've all seen what we can accomplish when we work together. As the Alliance fleet regrouped and rescue operations began, Tortoise couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. Humanity had entered the galactic stage as supposed primitives, dismissed and underestimated by ancient powers. They had emerged as equals, their primitive ingenuity helping to save the galaxy itself. The stars seemed brighter somehow as the Nemesis set course for Earth. The galaxy was entering a new age, one of true cooperation and shared progress. The beings that had manipulated them for so long were gone, but they had left behind an important lesson. True strength lies not in age or advanced technology, but in the ability to adapt, innovate, and work together. Humanity had proven itself among the stars, not by conquering or dominating, but by uniting the galaxy against a common threat. As Torres looked at the joint human-alien crew working seamlessly on her bridge, she knew that their greatest adventures still lay ahead.